Hello all, welcome to the Literacy Spire Cartoon Fan Podcast. This is episode 336, and today we'll be talking about Alpha Leader from GlitchTex. I'm GC13.
And I'm David.
So Alpha Leader proposes quite an interesting conundrum. Do Mitch Pyres have reflections? I think they have to. They have very well done hair. That's a lot of hair product in there.
I'm going to say, I think that the mechanics of Mitch Pyres are honestly much more like werewolves. You know, just getting bitten and now you're a werewolf. I don't know if the whole, do Mitches need sustenance? Although I guess perhaps they need the sustenance of believing that people respect them. Maybe that's their blood equivalent. And it's not like a werewolf because you're a Mitch Pyre the entire time. It's not a, reoccurrence.
Yeah, I think with Mitch Pyres, it's like changelings from My Little Pony, except instead of feeding off love, they feed off of, I don't want to use the term respect, I guess obedience would be a better word.
Yeah, because they can at least directly see that, So I don't know. But I like the introduction of the concept, or at least Mika's teasing. She took it pretty well, this horrible, stupid decision that Five did this episode to, attempt to be Mitch. It's weird that he took his advice in the first place, and it led us through, an expected journey where, of course, Five was going to realize that he looked like an idiot. And a little bonus was thrown in there that, of course, nobody else respects Mitch. His own teammates are very willing to express that.
I mean, we just discussed the haunted campfire from Summer Camp Island last week, and I was wondering where was Susie on this one to come in and call everyone dummies at the very end.
Susie just holding a hose, filling in back one of the pools at the amusement park. You dummies.
That's a Photoshop job I have to do now.
Yeah, I can see it.
But this was probably the episode I enjoyed watching the least, just because it's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, you've seen this plot done before, you know exactly how this is going to happen, and it's like, you see the car crash happening, and it's like, no, Five, listen to me.
I know. And it's so, I cringe so hard. I've been watching a lot of, Seinfeld recently, and I had not known how much it leaned on kind of, cringe humor, and I was just feeling that again all during this episode, oh, put your collar down, Five. Get your hair back up, Five. Come on, what are you doing? Now, he did have, at least one cool moment on the bridge once he, actually stopped being Mitch, where he, was able to take back being himself by saying, it's not 4.
4 against 5.
Oh, man. That was so cool. Also, animation-wise, it was cool, except it wasn't cool for Five because he lost this part. But there was a moment where he, leaps into the air and shoots a laser beam at a tank, and the screen, it does the horizontal slashing, right, where it's black bars on the edges, and they're both outside it, and the beam goes, and it's super cool, but of course he gets thrown to the ground, and so it's not super cool for him. And so, but it was a cool animation thing. So, but it made me think that moment, and then later on once he has reclaimed being himself again and he's doing another fight again against Tank, he jumps in the air super high, and I'm really thinking about this problem again, which is, are these kids just crazy agile and superhumans, or is it the suits? I don't know.
They might have spring boots or some kind of, they may have the boots of Spring-Heeled Jack from Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It brings me back to when we would watch episodes of Steven Universe, and I would think, is Steven strong, or is that just a coincidence?
Yeah. Turned out he was strong, but because it's a cartoon, you never know.
Right. Whereas these
plausible
these
deniability,
guys,
baby.
I don't know. It's got to be the suits. But then again, sometimes these kids have weird properties, like Miko. Mysterious properties happening.
Yes, Miko is quite mysterious, isn't she? Ooh, especially when she turns into a Mitch Pyre at the end.
Man, she handled their one-on-one talk so well in the middle of the episode. She gets pulled away by Five. She's like, ooh, we're doing secrets? Which I love that. I love that in Miko's head. That's what could have been happening. Right in the middle of them doing this. Hey, I gotta tell you some secrets. We're best friends. That's so adorable.
You're making me think of Hilda now. Talking about telling people secrets. Trading. Ooh.
You gotta trade some secrets for some knowledge back from the Rat King. But yeah,
Ooh, yes.
no, but Miko just was so confused, but she handled it in, like, I don't know, she could have been really abrasive or just, strongly contradicted what Five was saying, but she kind of just took it, and again, a little bit of the same kind of maturity or decision making that she had last episode, where she kind of let Five fail a little bit when he was bragging about knowing, oh, I've beaten the game, and clearly he hadn't. Like, she just kind of is confused and disappointed, and she's like, well, surely this little plan of his to be a crappy replica of Mitch is not going to work out, so okay. And Hanish knew that the whole time. Poor Hanish, like,
Yeah.
just trying to get a word in.
Just keeps putting his hand up, and teacher never calls on him except at the very, very end.
But, like, man, these people respect authority so much. Like, this whole little team, they're like, well, I guess we'll just let Five do what he's going to do, because we're not in any serious danger right now. But, they didn't ever just mutiny. Just be like, nah, this ain't happening anymore.
Wage slaves for life, baby. It does make you wonder, like, how many glitch techs end up being called up into corporate, and how many end up being memory wiped and living ordinary lives.
We haven't seen that yet, right? The consequence of people leaving
No.
Hinobi. Now, I mean, we were hinted at once from Bit that there was a half of somebody going around in the world somewhere.
The end of the second season kind of teases something like that, but
Ooh.
like we don't even know like what that's a puzzle piece to, let alone where it fits. So it's just tantalizing questions right now.
Meanwhile, I far away from the tantalizing questions. I like the introduction of Hanish and Zara. I love how Five tries to introduce himself to him. It was a cool introduction.
I would say V cool.
Oh, yeah. V cool. But yeah, I like that their relationship starting off as, we're like cool older teens. That's slightly intimidating for a younger teen, but they're, in no way, they're cool people. So they're not, thinking, oh man, what a cringe little kid. Like, they're totally nice, and he's putting all this pressure on himself to socially perform when he doesn't need to, which I love.
Story of a teenage life. See, relatable issues. They may be superhumans, superheroes, but they suffer from the same problems we all do.
Speaking of suffering and the conscious experience of all human beings, again, the monsters we fight this week are not pure monsters. They are conscious beings that talk, and, we got a lot of time off screen looking at what they do without any other humans observing. It's a really funny team.
Yeah.
I enjoy how Tank doesn't really care, as well, kind of like a Mitch
torture
Fire.
device.
Yeah, but
I like it.
They're exploring this human world, which is interesting. And wouldn't they know what an amusement park is from the world they come from? Like, is their multiplayer game just a world devoid of amusement parks?
In the grim darkness of Overstrike, there is only 4-on-4 battle.
There is.
So no, they do not have time for amusement parks.
But again, they can read English, but who knows? I mean, they're glitches. Their team entered team name, so I don't know. They just work by whatever code is written for them, and yet I can't help but marvel at how, the Steven in me wants them to grow. We could keep them around. We don't have to destroy them. We could teach them to love. Look at the leaves. Look at the colors. Look at the distant shore. Maybe.
I mean, at the very least, there are probably some private military corporations that are hiring.
At minimum, we could get you a job.
Tell you what, I'll take 50%.
I mean, come on.
It's a reasonable deal.
But is that not what Hinobi's doing behind the scenes? I mean, all this tech.
They are using the teens as cheap labor.
I did, again, think about the teens. I don't know at what point in this episode. Just kind of thought again, like, are they using teenagers just because teenagers are much more intimately familiar with games and much more willing to be reckless and also take on this ridiculous concept and not just tell authorities instantly? Like, that maybe that's the reason why there's a bunch of teenagers doing this. Like, they're not going to squeal.
Yeah, it would make sense because they only hire people who are way into the gaming scene.
Right, and they're so caught up in it that they don't even think about being like, wait, should we be doing this quietly without telling anyone? Shouldn't this game maker not be putting incredibly dangerous devices into people's households and then constantly causing mayhem that could end entire cities or, worlds.
Everything seems to work out well.
Right.
I wonder what would have happened if Team Entername had won this episode. What if they had got all 4 control points? Which it kind of looked like it did, based on how many sky lasers were happening, but apparently did not, since they didn't win?
Yeah, this was one of the most, gaming goal episodes, because there wasn't seemingly any real threat of these guys winning. And there wasn't much accomplished at the end. There wasn't sometimes we're in some bad state and then the state is resolved and things get cleaned up. This was truly just capture areas multiplayer game, and it just kind of ended.
You know what it was, David? It was literally a trip to an amusement park.
In the end, all that was important was having fun and the friends they made along the way. Yeah.
And they learned a little bit about teamwork.
Well, pretty much just 5. But maybe there's going to be a little bit of rotation on Mitch's team, though. A little bit of leadership rotation.
5 already understood teamwork. What 5 learned was about you can't lead like Mitch. You have to lead like 5. And then Miko would lead like Miko, except she doesn't lead, so that's how she leads.
So we saw how the team works when you have a Mitch-type leader. So my question is, why is Mitch's team successful when he's on it? He's just so good personally that even if he's a butt to his teammates and ignores what they say and stuff, somehow they just get through it anyway and they stay on the top of the leaderboards. I'm surprised. He must be that competent.
I'm assuming that the team succeeds on the basis of the individual skill of its members, and also Mitch does know what to do. He's no dummy.
Right.
There are a bunch of very high performers competently executing a plan, led by somebody who has the single overriding goal of getting as much XP as possible. So, it's no wonder that they win every week.
I really, despite Mitch being wrong, there's something in me that wants it to be revealed that he knows something about Hinobi, and that's why he's trying to max out his EXP. He's obsessed with it because it actually is going to help him resolve a problem. It's one of those the bad guy. I think there's a name for that trope, but the bad guy turns out to be good.
Yeah, you're infiltrating the bad guys.
Right. Well, and he can be a jerk along the way, but he can still have this positive motive that's sort of secret.
Yeah, they do that in Tiger Mask Double. One of the 2 Tiger Masks infiltrated the evil organization with the intent of finding and beating up the dude who led him to join the evil organization in the first place. And the funny thing is, they recruited him knowing full well that he hated them. So hopefully anyone infiltrating Hinobi would not have that disadvantage.
I just want to give Mitch some reason to not be a just complete meanie and loser.
Yeah, just I think you should keep watching. It's he gets the Loris treatment.
Because right now, instead we're following Summer Camp Island. Susie is a character I love to hate to love, but Mitch is just a character that I hate. What a big meanie. I don't know. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Mitch is a big fat meanie.
Big fat meanie zucchini. Yeah, we'll chop him up and serve him with linguine. Anyway, yeah, pretty. I'm gonna give this one a solid 7. We always rate every episode. This,
yes, we are famous for giving numerical scores to episodes.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty good. Kind of predictable.
Yeah, once you get past the cringe, which the cringe really affects my personal enjoyment of the episode, but at least it doesn't impact the overall quality of the episode. It's just I wish they told a different story. How are we could, because there were even so many things where it's what kind of leader are you? And then showing Tank not listening to his teammates after 5 has decided to start listening to his, and it's they're being super on the nose with the theme here.
Yeah, a little on the nose, but that's okay. Side question, is there a stash of Mitch-type jackets hanging around that anyone can borrow at any time? Is that where 5 got his jacket? Is that just coincidental?
No. Didn't you see Mitch open up his own locker to 5?
Whoa! Why would he do that? I did miss that, and that seems uncharacteristic for Mitch, except that he's so concerned about his own reputation that he needs
Yeah.
5 to basically just be him standing. Well, I guess that is kind of his motivation.
Yeah, you missed his hair product is called Pure Man, Hold Me.
Well, no, I thought that was... Oh.
That's his hair... No, that's Mitch's locker. He scratches 5's locker.
You're right.
And then opens his own.
I was confused. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I was like, why does 5 have this weird hair gel in here? But that makes sense now.
Nope,
that makes sense.
That's Mitch's.
Yeah.
Mitch is Pure Man.
Hundo P.
Actually, you can't hold him since he's in a bubble.
Very relevant to our times.
Technically, all humans are. All humans are dying. Yep, they foresaw everything.
Yes, just like The Simpsons, glitch text will predict everything that happened. Oh, I have one more complaint. It's a good way to end an episode, right?
Okay, go for it.
5 could open the pink bubble, and no one else could. And I know the theme song says they've got the tech, we've got the crew, whatever. Apparently, only 5 has the tech to open the bubble.
No, they mentioned that. They mentioned that there was they mentioned that the bubble was some kind of dampening field because their gauntlets weren't getting the signal that they needed.
And signal also equals power? Because I thought they were just trying to communicate, but they couldn't even use the gauntlets because it was disrupted inside. Okay.
Here, hold on. Let me pull up the relevant page of the manual here.
Consulting the manual. No, that's already a reasonable explanation. That's why we bring these things up, because David watches episodes that are written for children ages, 5 to 12, and then he realizes that it is internally logically consistent.
Let's see here.
Wait, do they have a detailed description of how the gauntlets work and what can and can't disrupt them? And
I wouldn't say it's super detailed, but yeah, there's a fair amount of info out there.
Yeah, well, the manual exists for the people writing, right? I wonder if something similar existed for, the fairy godparents' wands. All those rules that you have to think about when you write stories later.
Okay, I don't think the bit about them needing a signal is in the manual. I think that's somewhere else. But yeah, they mentioned it briefly in Castle Crawl.
Right.
Getting weak signal weakens your gauntlet, and so that's why only someone outside of the dampening field was able to use his gauntlet effectively. I mean, it makes perfect sense. You don't want someone being able to grab one of those guys and go rogue. If you know that, let's say Ridley... Never mind, I didn't say anything.
Oh, spoiler.
I said
characters
nothing.
ahead of time. Well, you're already making my cog spin, because also I'm thinking, what is the mechanics of that? Is getting a weak signal that Hinobi doesn't want you to steal the tech and run away with it? Because then you could theoretically just hack the gauntlet and override the code that says, hey, don't shut off or weaken when you're away from the signal.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Like I said, there's so much we don't know about Hinobi, even once you finish the second season. I feel like seasons 3 and 4 would have been very juicy, were they to ever be completed and aired.
Yeah, that would be cool. I want to meet a character that just, they know everything, and we don't hear everything from them about Hinobi, but they've hacked the gauntlet, and they can just portal everywhere and use the max power, and they don't have to get EXP to have access to all of the tools and whatever. A rogue would be interesting and would confuse our protagonists, being like, what is going on? And then it turns out they're in cahoots with Mitch. Mitch is on the inside, they're on the outside. It could be a whole thing.
Yeah, Mitch is the inside man the whole time. That would be cool. I don't think it's Mitch, though. I don't think the inside man. I think Bergie would be a much better man on the inside. Who would suspect Bergie?
All I'm thinking about now is that we're covering this show, and if a season 3 doesn't come out, what's going to happen is in our rotation of podcast episodes, we're going to be like, all right, welcome back, guys. This is going to be our conversation on season 3, episode 1 of our fanfic of season 3 of Glitch Text. We are going to just read it directly from fanfic.net, and here we go.
Well, hopefully if season 3 doesn't get finished animating, they'll at least do as much as they can to get as much of the animatics out as possible, or at least the story outlines, because they have them boarded. They basically have animatics with voiced animatics ready to go. So
wow,
hopefully at least that gets put somewhere. So we'll have 10 more episodes worth of knowledge.
Netflix,
even
man.
if they never animate it.
What is the secret about Netflix's platform? That'll be like, is the same thing going to happen with other streaming platforms? Is that just the nature of streaming opposed to cable, where they just decide to drop shows all the time? I guess we'll see. Like, Infinity Train is sort of in that middle ground right now where, I mean, it did start on really the cable network, but it feels like they're just dropping it now, and it doesn't really make sense. You know, it's like these high quality shows, and they seemingly have an audience, but
they're famous for dropping streaming shows, but like, what about shows like Invader Zim? They used to drop shows all the time back in the cable days.
Yeah, but that show actually like was having problems. It wasn't just
okay. To be fair, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was having problems behind the scenes. It was having problems like airing, but
like, I know Secret Saturdays like had an actual ending, but I just so wish they'd done somebody had ponied up for a Secret Scientist spin-off series. That would have made my day. Or Symbiotic Titan. Symbiotic Titan was a beautiful show, but they couldn't get any toy deals, so they axed it.
Well, yeah, that's one positive thing. I don't know. There's something about, and maybe that's not true with streaming. It just feels like the emphasis on toys has been greatly reduced. Or like, I look at what type of shows have come out on, you know, Cartoon Network, at least in the past 5 years, and it does not feel very toy oriented, or even longer than 5 years. Like, I mean, you think just starting with the regular show Adventure Time era. I mean, Adventure Time got their McDonald's toys, but then
Adventure Time got their Funko Pops. What are you talking about?
Well, everything gets Funko Pops now, but you know, like Steven Universe just wasn't really a heavy merch show.
They got their Funko Pops though, at least.
Yeah, but like the emphasis on just like we have to produce a bunch of action figures, or you even think of the major, you know, Avatar, Korra. They just they're like these realistically proportioned characters, and they just don't really translate to action figures and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like even the She-Ra reboot. It's explicitly like, we don't care. This is the opposite of doing character design specific for toys. Anyway, all I'm saying is Glitch Tech's no toys, no season 3, streaming words, keywords, the end. It's all sad. But we're going to make our fanfic happen no matter what.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will. Anyway, guys, that's been us on Alpha Leader. Join us next week. Until then, I'm GC13.
And I'm David. Don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Later, everybody. Our opening and closing music is by Mark Soto. For more cartoon-related content, please visit lunarceasefire.com.